Let's go back to one of our top stories now. President Cyril Ramaphosa plans to appeal the judgment, setting aside his decision to recognize Misuzulu Zwelithini as AmaZulu King. The court also ordered the president to institute an investigative committee to probe the allegations of violations of customary laws in the identification process. The president says during the course of the legal processes, the AmaZulu King remains the identified heir to the throne. Let's now speak to Prince Africa Zulu, spokesperson for the AmaZulu King. Let me thank you so much for your time. Your reaction first to the ruling and the decision by the president to apply for leave to appeal.
Thank you so much, Margaret. His Majesty is quite humbled, and he knows with great appreciation the position that has been taken by the president to be able to continue to defend the decision that he had made after his own processes in as far as going to install to the installation of His Majesty through the certification process, where the certificate was given to His Majesty at Mapita Stadium when he was already king.
Did the ruling take him by surprise?
We cannot say that we are not surprised, because remember, we also know that the king was already king. The king was already king when this the certification was presented to him. That's why that he was already addressed, because remember, when the Catholics, as far as long time ago, when his mother was identified as a princess to marry the Zulu king, that is where the whole process took place. So this whole thing, as if everything is new now, that the king has been just put to place by President Ramaphosa's certificate, and then putting unnecessary and undue pressure on the president, as if he did not follow any processes within his government, zones. It is quite very, very, very sad. But I want to tell you that the king was already identified at birth when his mother was chosen as a Swazi princess to come and marry the Zulu king. As a great wife, there was nothing less expected than to give birth to the king. And further processes that the Zulu royal family engaged on, and including up to the time on the 14th of May, when the entire royal family, where there was an open call for all the stakeholders of the royal family to take part and participate. So indeed, we cannot say we're not sort of shocked. But however, His Majesty respects the rule of law, and he abides by the rule of law, and he's very confident that he's going to be able to be successful eventually in his journey for his cause as a Zulu king.
And without going into, the merits of this matter, because now we understand that the court obviously is going to be seized with the matter of the appeal, as the president has said. But you've just outlined what you believe has been the process that has been followed here. But there are some who don't agree within the family. Hence, we're seeing this particular process. So when it comes into the process, do you think that all the boxes were ticked as you've just taken through it?
If Margareta, if to take you to a boarding school where there is a lot of people who maybe you have to teach food, and then some people don't come to pitch for breakfast or dinner, and then later they complain and say that they were not provided for. Was maybe their own reasons for not attending. You know, it will be very difficult really to argue that point, because people cannot be forced. Remember, His Majesty is not a king who uses force. So people were not forced to come and attend. So for those who did not make it, we respected their decision not to come, because we knew that they were invited. There was an open call. Everybody was told that please, if you're a member, you're a senior member in your royal house, come and take part in this process. And they did not attend. And some of them, they even wrote letters expressing that they have no reason and interest in attending the meeting, because they felt the meeting maybe was going to be biased to the king, and whereas it was the opposite. The meeting was quite open. It was a meeting where we wanted to identify our heir to the Zulu throne. Though we already knew that His Majesty King Misuzulu has been already identified by cultural practices and cultural existence, his claim was already waiting. So this is a situation that we are at, that you'll never be able to satisfy people that are not satisfied because of, at the end of the day, it's a democratic process. We also try, as a monarch that lives and operates within a democracy, to apply that democratic hand when we do our day-to-day activities.
The president then, I'm listening to what you're saying, and the president in his statement is calling on the members of the royal family to continue working on unity of the family and also putting the interests of the AmaZulu nation first. But if we are seeing what is happening now in the public, in the public eye and even in the courts as well, is it a possibility for this unity and the working together that the president is asking for?
Absolutely, absolutely. If His Majesty is given a chance to actually initiate this unification process, definitely we'll be able to see a thing. But as long as you have cause that are actually not understanding the importance of the unification of the royal family, where such judgment are issued against the president for doing the right thing, we indeed going to take longer to actually experience this unity. But however, I think that all of us as the members of the Zulu royal family, we are committed, because at the end of the day, it is not about the position of a king. It is about the crown. It is about the heritage of our ancestors. We all have invested interest. We all here, we want to see this thing succeeding, and we don't want this whole thing to end with us. We want the crown to continue to be respected, because it is how the Zulus as well that are able to claim and enjoy the space of South Africa through the existence of this crown. So we don't want to see disunity among the royal family. So I'm 100% certain that when the dust settles, His Majesty will engage on a long-term plan in making sure that he unites the entire royal family, including those people who are not on our side. And we understand we don't want to force them to choose or understand the heritage as we understand it. But we know that over time, Zulus, they always come back home, and it always happens.
And I'm listening to you then talking about what you call these judgments against the president. Are you doubting the impartiality of the court then in this matter?
It is not my decision. It is not my position to judge the position of the court. Courts are there to do their job, and they function in a particular manner. It's just that it's very important that also, of course, understands that the king cannot really be identified by courts. The king gets identified by the royal family customs, and these are the customs when we talk about the King Misuzulu being born into by the great wife, Queen Mantombi, who is of Swaziland. And such history is the one that actually brings us here. So it's very, very important that you understand that, for me, I'm not in a position to critique courts and say maybe they did not arrive at a right decision. But quite honestly, even the decision that they arrived at, it was a decision where they actually gave a judgment to the president. And I know there was a lot of confusion whether the king is king or what. People must be assured that the king is king, and nothing will change that. The king is on the throne. This is the Zulu king we're talking about. We don't sit and stand.
And very briefly then, are you confident that the president will succeed in his appeal?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because the president is actually on a right course. He's pleading a right case. There is no doubt that the president is going to succeed on his course, because remember, he has God behind him. This whole thing is a situation of the whole instability of the Zulu nation. It carries the factors of security. So it's not something to be really taken lightly, So, and he has our prayers. And today we have even issued a statement to that effect, sending our deepest gratitude to and appreciation to the president and for fighting on and the right cause, because we know that he's a man of integrity. He's a man who understands that the right decision, when it's taken, you have to continue and fight on and stand by that decision. And he has the entire Zulu nation behind him. So I don't see him fade with that much support.
All right. Let me thank you so much for your time this evening. Do appreciate it. That was Prince Africa Zulu, spokesperson for King Misuzulu. And we will, of course, continue to monitor this particular story and bring you developments as they come.